All right, so we're figuring out our climb in Montana. How's it looking, Alex?
So originally we were trying to do Granite Peak, which is technically the highest point in Montana. It's in the Beartooths, but it seems a little bit undoable for our skill set. So Granite Peak, 12,799 feet. Apparently the second hardest high point in the US to summit behind Denali. So climbers can reach the base of Tempest Mountain, a common spot used for base camp. From the West Rosebud Trailhead, climbers can either reach the Froze-to-Death Plateau by driving up the Phantom Creek Trail.
I don't think I really want to camp there.
Why would you name it that? To get to the summit requires class 4 exposed climbing / scrambling. This mountain's not recommended for novice climbers. However, there are nearby peaks that are a bit easier for one to gain experience and comfort on less challenging terrain before tackling granite.
Well, let's assess our other options.
Katie, do you have an alternate for us?
Yeah, so one of those nearby peaks is Mount Wood, and it's actually only a couple hundred feet shorter than Granite Peak, but the most difficult section looks like it's going to be class 2 scrambling, which I definitely think we can do. Probably the hardest thing about it for us is going to be the lack of information on it. We're going to have to draw our own map, probably a little less than 20 miles round trip. Yeah. Cool. I think we should definitely take the West Rosebud Creek approach.
Yeah, with the people on Peak Bagger saying they didn't see a single human being for over 24 hours. On all the mountains that we've been on, even with Hood being technically scared, there were still people everywhere. So that, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different.
I feel like if there's anything that's sketchy, we won't be able to push it. We're gonna have to be extra cautious.
Yeah.
Just because of the lack of people.
Yeah.
So we're actually kind of lucky in being unlucky. This whole week, there's basically thunderstorms every night. Tonight is the only night with no forecasted thunderstorms or rain.
Yeah.
So tonight is our night to camp, but we want to be off the mountain by 3 p.m. when they start rolling in.
Yeah, easily. This is the only 2-day weather window we have in a whole week.
Yeah.
So we just kind of got to go for it.
Send it. What are you most nervous for?
To be honest, the bears, which is kind of funny because when I first started hiking, that's what I was so scared of was wildlife. And in San Diego and Southern California, it's very dumb to be, but we're actually in grizzly country now. We both have bear spray and we know how to use it, but it doesn't make it any less intimidating to be entering grizzly backcountry and be bushwhacking on a not very popular hike. So about 10 minutes into the trail, we saw a moose.
Heard a branch break, and so I screamed real loud, and then I saw its butt. But it scampered off in that direction. So Alex whipped her bear spray
out. I was ready to go.
All right, everybody,
clap your hands. Da, 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 da.
I think I'm most nervous for trusting my navigational skills. I do have a very good sense of direction, but it hasn't been put to the test like this.
Yeah.
But Alex has a compass.
And we have
a downloaded topography trail.
So we are a little bit off to the left of the trail.
We've done everything we can with our skill level. Let's see what happens.
Yup. 1 p.m., which is pretty early. We napped a little bit. Then while I was napping, Katie said she was gonna go solo adventure around, and I was kind of half asleep, so I didn't really hear her. But I woke up and I realized it was already 6 p.m. And so I decided to go on a little walk. And I found a pretty good view. Good morning. We woke up a little after 4 to put our tent away and wait for first light, which is not happening. So we're just eating our breakfasts and chilling out until it gets a little bit lighter so we can start our summit push for Mount Wood. So our entire way up through the valley, we thought that this peak and this peak were what we were hitting, and it turns out that we are heading up this way.
Yeah.
So
Right that way. Thank God for the compass.
yeah, we have not been checking the compass. So we made the decision to walk up this slightly less steep ridge, and then we're gonna put on our micro spikes right about there, traverse over, and I believe that's the west summit, and that's probably the east summit, so we'll see how it goes. All right.
That's Mount Wood. That's the summit. And that's a big ass snow patch. I don't think we can get through.
And just the snow is really, really soft, so to go up through there, it would take a long time. We tried doing a couple of steps and our knees were pretty much all the way in. So
Yeah. I think once I got up here, I started feeling pretty crappy. I felt pretty good the whole way up, and I think that was my body just saying, like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's beautiful, and I mean, I think the double-edged sword with this peak is the fact that it's not well known because we have it to ourselves, but also like there's no beta on it, so we had to kind of make our own call because one resource online said the east summit was better and one resource online said the west summit was better.
Yeah. I definitely thought we were going to be able to do it. Like, I felt super confident and good all day, but no. Yeah, I wanted to summit and I thought we could, but now that I'm up here and we are BT dubs, this is our first time using CalTopo and making our own map. We are at 12,300 feet, like 300 feet.
300 feet short of the summit.
And it's an early 300 feet.
Taking a selfie with the summit.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling right now?
I mean, physically I'm pretty exhausted, so I'm excited to go back and not keep climbing uphill, but I'm a little disappointed because I definitely thought, especially when we started this morning, I think we were feeling strong and we were gaining crazy elevation in a short amount of miles, and so based on what we read about this mountain, once we got up that last really steep scramble, I was like, okay, we got this. But I think we just made a bad decision on our traverse, and I frankly would rather get back down than make it up to the summit, but a little upset because I thought we'd get it, but I mean, we have the Teton coming up in a little over a week, so it's okay. I still feel like I learned a lot today. That scrambling was super fun and really challenging, and I feel like it was a bit of good practice and exercising those muscles before the Teton, so I'm okay. What you feeling right now?
It's really disappointing being so close and being able to see the summit and know that you're only like a few hundred feet away. But I think something we've definitely learned in our past few summits is to look ahead, and like we know that we have a lot of exposed scrambling down that we're probably not going to be super fast on, to get down and like below the tree line before the storms probably hit. And I'm pretty exhausted, honestly. I hit a wall about an hour ago, and it's been really hard for me to like keep moving since then. So I just don't think today is our day to summit.
Let's go eat some food.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful backpacking trip.
Yeah, friggin' should have just stayed at Mystic Lake. I just remember we put on our micro spikes and Katie took like 2 or 3 steps in the snow and she just sunk down to her knees. And in that moment I was just like, it's not happening.
You said that.
Yeah, it's not happening, you know, like she turned around and we sat down and we kind of made the decision together.
We really did not see the summit until the moment we realized we couldn't make it. And just because we didn't summit doesn't mean we failed in the skills we were attempting to build. We definitely learned a lot. At first, I was wondering if maybe I made a bad call in picking to try and do Mount Wood. Maybe we should have tried another peak. But that was where we found ourselves that day, and that was the decision we had to make. So, yeah, it was definitely an easy decision to make. But as it started setting in a bit more, I was pretty disappointed, but in reflecting on it in total, I think we learned a lot.
And yeah, I mean, I think we were both physically capable, more than capable of getting there, but it was a judgment call of how long it would take us and having to think ahead. And I think being able to have the maturity to make that decision comes with time in the mountains and putting your ego aside and not having summit fever just to be able to say you did it, but to think ahead and know what your risks are and kind of make the right call in the moment.
I learned that it really is not all about the summit. And looking back on that, in the total 30-something hours that we were in the wilderness, getting to the summit and back would have been, the rest of the experience was great and transformative as it was. So it really, your experience is not dictated by how high you can go.
Something I thought I was going to struggle with was having the goal of a summit and then not reaching it. But I think that's a really naive thing to think when you're entering mountaineering and climbing, because you know, it's not really about you. It's about the mountain, and it's about what the mountain like allows you to do that day. And you can just kind of show up and do your best and hope for the best, but it's really not in your hands. Montana has something really, really special about it. We both are incredibly drawn to it, and the good thing about not summiting is that it kind of gives us a reason to come back.
There we go, that's a soundbite. Are you filming?
Yeah, I'm like definitely a little bit out of it still. Obviously one of the worst descents of my life.
Yeah. No glissading to be done.
I think I walked through about 100 spider webs.
Yeah. It was steep, and so I was like, oh, we're gonna fly down this.
It was too steep to fly down.
It took us like 45 minutes to get down that last 0.6 of a mile, and you know, sometimes you're a grumpy hiker and sometimes you're not a grumpy hiker. And Alex and I have definitely had our fair share of moments of being both. But today, I like looked back and just, we started cracking up because we were getting brutalized and it was honestly kind of hilarious.
I just ate a noon tablet. It
Would
fizzled
not
down
recommend
my
that.
throat. Oh my god. Right. At one point, we just stopped calling out for bears.
It was like a come get me bear kind of moment. I've got nothing to lose.
Fucking go for it, dude. Be my guest. Recording.
We have about 6 miles to backpack out right now.
This is gonna just fucking suck, dude.
Is it?
This one's at 42% still.
Okay.